However, before we move on from General Phahlane, when he was here last Wednesday, he told us that on the 5th of June 2024, he had an incident in Dunkeld. Do you know anything about that incident that occurred, that took place in Dunkeld regarding General Phahlane and his wife?
What year was that, ma'am?
2024. On the 5th of June.
I know about one much earlier incident where he was in a fingernail place or something.
Okay, I can jog your memory because you may have not maybe heard that part of his evidence. General Phahlane testified that he had gone to I think a spa, he said, in Dunkeld with his wife.
Yeah.
And an incident occurred where they basically, they were stopped, I think it may have been at gunpoint, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And he testified that you sent him a message saying, sorry, yeah, I just heard. If you know that if you need any help, the offer still stands. Would you like to comment about that?
Yeah.
Did you send that message and would you like to comment about that? So two things.
Yeah. Firstly, the message, I did send a message to him, but it wasn't 2024. It's some time ago. And the message meant to convey, if you want to still cooperate with the investigation and not be scared of repercussions for you, you can speak to us. It's about 2017. And because I know that after 2017, 2018, I was still in IPID then, not 2024. So after I'd heard that he had done the counter investigation and these people were harassing us, I began a process of ridiculing him. So we couldn't fight back with much. So anytime they came for us, we made jokes about them. So Phahlane got an award for bravery in that matter. And I think there's also a financial reward that goes with it. But I ridiculed him, and I said it in Parliament. How can you get an award for bravery when you slide on the floor hiding behind cushions?
Yes. But Mr. McBride, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interject. I mean, would you like to comment on the text message that you sent that said the offer still stands, specifically after the incident?
If he wants to be a 204 witness, the offer stands.
Okay. And then he also testified that subsequently thereafter, he discovered that there was a copy of a CCTV footage of the attack.
Yes.
Following the Dunkeld incident, that attack.
Yes.
And he says that he discovered that you were the person who got a hold of the copy.
No. It was on YouTube.
And he says you circulated it into the media. Do you have any comments regarding?
No, it's on YouTube. The whole world saw it.
So you distance yourself from that?
It was on YouTube.
Okay. I would like to now shift gears and move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Sullivan appears quite a bit within IPID, and he also features quite a lot in your affidavit.
Yes.
What was his relationship to you, and what is his role? Is he an IPID member? Is he a policeman?
No, he's not an IPID member, ma'am. He's a person with resources who has information. And at some stage, he had been involved, unfortunately, much to my disliking at that stage, in the Jackie Celebi case, because Jackie Celebi was like a bigger brother comrade in ANC, and then O'Sullivan takes credit for taking him down. So when I was appointed in IPID, he made a statement that, yes, IPID had made a statement that he has no case against Jackie Celebi, and that has not been corrected, and he's going to keep a hawk's eye on us. So I consulted people that in the investigative fraternity. I said, what must I do with this guy? Should I tell him, to to go and get intimate with himself and leave me alone. And the people I consulted said, no, this guy is reaching a hand out to you. Go to him, hear what he has. He often has good information. So I met him then. That is before my suspension, when I just was appointed. And a good example, what happens is, I tell you, well, I first checked with ICD. I find out ICD made a statement that, which was a rough statement against him, very rough. I can't remember what it was, but I then, so IPID is now the derivative of ICD. So when I speak to O'Sullivan about this matter, I tell him, look, you seemingly you are proven right. And perhaps my people, although I inherit this, were wrong. So sorry about that. He goes to the newspaper, excuse my laughter, and he tells the newspaper, McBride apologized. So the headline is a headline, says, McBride of IPID apologizes. So I thought, no skin off my back. The guy is eccentric, a little bit strange, but he does have information. So when I was suspended, he laid this complaint now at Khamanyane. When I returned, he then came to ask, keeping up his promise of watching us like hawks, his promise, where is his case? And I think he was also the person who brought the pop crew to us. So Bunsame had complained to him, Popro had complained to him. He is the go-to person of disgruntled SAPS members who are whistleblowers who see wrongdoing going on. They go to O'Sullivan. That's what happens. So he sits with a lot of information, even at times when I thought he was wrong. There was an occasion when he was in a public spat with the Crime Intelligence General, who I know to be solid and who does good work. And the general asked, can you speak to this guy? I don't like what you say. And then I put them together, they must have a go at each other. Because I don't like stories, carrying stories. One of the biggest sins we make in this country, we make in even political parties, and which I've seen made here in this parliament by Begitele, is running, carrying stories, not listening to the other side. So I put them together and say, talk it up. Come, tell us what it is. Then they were having a go to each other. Allegations were made, counter allegations. In the end, O'Sullivan was satisfied. But the guy hadn't told the truth. There was something he left out which was true before, but was not true at that time. And in any event, O'Sullivan proved to be correct, even when I thought he was wrong on a piece of information. Yeah, so he's got that reputation of being solid, of receiving a lot of information. And so he also tends to brag. For example, there is a case, this one that Phahlane is on, that's going to court in October. He basically said on TV somewhere that he gave the information for the case. That's not true. That case was done by Temani Binang, mostly on his own. So Paul is like that. He has good information, but sometimes he wants to be the center of the story. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan is going to appear before this committee and he can tell us where he got the information from.
Yeah.
For now, I'd like to take you back to your statement.
Yes.
You returned back to your position once your suspension was lifted. And you get back to the office and find out that there was a complaint laid with Khamanyane, but nothing was in fact done. If I can take you to page 598 of the bundle.
Yes, I have it.
What is that document?
That's a document by Khamanyane writing to Phahlane, against whom the complaint is laid. I can read it out. kindly be informed that we have received a complaint from Mr. Paul O'Sullivan regarding allegations of tender irregularities and irregular appointments. The IPD in Gauteng have been tasked to grammar's problem, investigations regarding the above case, to conduct investigations. You are requested to arrange a suitable date for IPD to meet with you. And then Phahlane writes to, I think it's his PA, Helen, yes, schedule accordingly. So, Phahlane is informed by Khamenyani that O'Sullivan laid the case. At that stage, Homo gets the case, but nothing happens. There are no threats against anybody. Nothing happens. So O'Sullivan's already made his complaint. I am on suspension. No threats against anyone. When I come back, I put Mandla Mahlangu in charge of the case. Suddenly, when the task team is set up, threats start coming. And by 2017, early, he tells me that General Mkonazi came to him and told him he must just leave this case alone. Guys are too dangerous. And I said to him, what you want to do? You know, you've got a family and stuff. Why didn't you let me know so I know? And then I can refer to DPCI or something. And he said, no, Chief, I want to go on with it. I don't think it's fair that they put pressure on me. So that's how we left it. And things really took off when Sissoko and Kuba came back, and then there was more direct supervision. Because I, as the head of the organization, have to do loads of other issues, compliance, ages report, and all of that, together with my team. So I don't have time to check every investigation. But for special systemic corruption investigations, which we often report to Parliament, that was the way we worked. We would report stuff to Parliament. Sometimes they'll ask, how far has it gone? So there was a time frame about progress. That resulted in new momentum into corruption cases and real traction. So we're making headway in these issues. And for the first time, really, whether it's ICD or IPID, is now making inroads into the real corruption, not 200 rand on the side of the road. We're talking millions. And in the same period, we also started looking at crime intelligence stuff and start finding irregularities there, corruption. There was already this Nemo Tanzela that Kuba speaks about is already fired. They got a criminal case he's waiting for also.
And that was as a result of the investigation that you conducted? Yeah,
IPID investigations and whistleblowers. So the public was with us on this matter. We only got a hard time, Chief Whip. When we came to Parliament, I can't remember who the Chief Whip was then, but you could not touch Phahlane on anything. Phahlane was the man. Couldn't touch him. There was one member of opposition threatened to assault me and told me to watch out. Okay, he's now a member of the GNU, so what can I say?
Well, Mr. McBride, through you, Chair, just to wrap up on O'Sullivan, when General Phahlane appeared here last Wednesday, he informed this committee that O'Sullivan, together with Sarah Jane Trent and IPID official members, attended to his home, his private home.
Yes.
Do you have any comments to say about that?
Yes, I inquired about it because he sent me a message. You know, people visited my home and he sent it to me and the card. The card, I think, is Mahlangu's card. And I think I didn't respond to him, but I asked the guys what had happened. And they said, no, O'Sullivan was pointing out a crime scene. This is how they said it to me. And that their car was a bakkie that only had space for two. So they needed to go into a car with 4 seats, which was O'Sullivan's car. And that's how 4 of them went together to the house. When I asked why was O'Sullivan allowed to take the lead in some instances as reported, the answer I got back is no, they were doing the white man thing. Okay, what's a white man thing? White man thing is we as black people get ignored, we don't get access to the place. People look at us condescendingly. So let's use a white man, push a white man in front. And that's how they got access. And also Paul had that Joster apparently was Paul's informer also, the estate manager. So that's what happened. The guys, so it's like Kuba going to meet in Nematanzela. He goes to meet Nematanzela, but I thought he should have told us beforehand. He didn't know he landed up on Mkwenazi. But at the time, so Mkwenazi's people told our investigator, hey, your chief task team investigator is here. So what you worried about working hard? McBride's contract's finishing soon. So that's how it came to me. So I didn't say, no, that's a wrong move, or that's a wrong move. I said, no, Kuba must play it how he wants to play it so he gets the information. He's the guy on the ground. I'm not there. He must play it how he played it. And that's what I am. I don't micromanage, and I don't second guess my people I work with. It's one good thing about me. I'm not a specialist in anything. I take specialists, pull them together and make them work for a good cause. Like iPad under my tenure.
So what came of that matter? He complained. Did he formally complain?
Who is this? Phahlane.
Phahlane.
He complained, came to Parliament. So to show you Parliament, Chair and Chief Whip, Parliament was a place where you get crucified. So I understand when honorable members maybe are unhappy if I'm smiling too much. So what happened is, for the first time in the history of South Africa, with Phahlane's complaint and the support he had, the investigators have to answer to the suspects in the official parliamentary portfolio committee on police. Never happened before. Suspect is a suspect. Now we must answer to our suspect and give explanations. All of this is craziness, should not have been done. And we had to go through that. When we went to Scopa, we had to go to Scopa and then make a presentation on his matters. I think at that stage it was, Phahlane was on suspension. It was Sithole. Sithole is refusing to give information about one other issue. And I think on one occasion it was about FTA also. While we're sitting in the Scopa, there is Kit Keating sitting in the corner there listening to the whole testimony. So what happened? It means one of the policemen told him, come there, we're going to be talking about you today. So he was sitting right there listening to him. So they're always one step ahead. And we were getting lambasted all the time. We had no help from Parliament to compel SAPS to comply with our requests, which by law they have to.
Are these meetings closed meetings? Can the public not enter to be part of the meeting? Are you suggesting that he snuck into a meeting that was not a public meeting?
No, ma'am. Indeed, it's a public meeting. There were journalists there. The point is, he's an implicated person. What's he doing there? Okay. Who told him to come and sit there and listen to our report about how far we've gone with the investigation? Okay. That's the issue.
If I can then just maybe to jog your memory, on your statement at page 22, paragraph 79.
1 second more.
Just to close out on Phahlane, General Phahlane's complaint.
Okay, I have it.
In your statement, you state that in November 2017, General Phahlane lodged a security breach complaint under case number that. The complaint was regarding Paul O'Sullivan, who accompanied members from IPID to his Sable Hills estate.
Yes, yes.
Page 22, paragraph 79.
I have it, ma'am.
Yes. The complaint was regarding Paul O'Sullivan, who accompanied members from IPID to Sable Hills estate during investigations into
Yes.
General Phahlane. So he did lay a formal complaint with the police, because I see that there is a case number.
No, what he did is, this is concocted, by the way. This is a concocted breach. It's like a breach of his house, but it's not there. So crime intelligence was now part of contriving that is security breach. In the meantime, when security breach is made, there's at least 3, we have 2 affidavits here. There is another one, I sent it to evidence leader, is, I think it's Kruger.
Yes, if you just continue in your statement,
Okay.
you are now at page 80. Sorry, at paragraph 80. Still on the same page.
Crime
22.
Intelligence had earlier, on the 2nd of November 2017, done an investigation of the alleged security breach under CAS 534/05/2017, found that there was in fact no such security breach. The officer who did the investigation made statements to that effect. So we have Kutsia and we have Kruger, and there's another one, Henir or Henir, also which states the same thing as the other 2, RJM 16, RJM 17. And in the rush, we omitted one of them. But most of these documents are all old documents. They've been written, and nothing is being made up in response to Phahlane's allegations or Inkabinde. These statements were there from long ago and were ventilated in many fora, including Parliament.
Okay, if you can then turn to page 649 of the bundle.
Yes, ma'am, 1 second.
That is annexure RJM 16.
Ma'am, it's Janine Kutsia.
Yes. What document is before you?
It's a statement by the crime intelligence officer, Janine Kutsia, who is a captain in the police service station at crime intelligence head office. On Wednesday, the 30th of the 11th, I received instruction from Lieutenant Colonel Kruger to accompany him to a meeting at Brigadier Moyane's office. Brigadier Moyane asked us to attend to a security breach complaint at Acting National Commissioner Phahlane's residence. The said address, we interviewed the security manager, Brick van der Walt and Chris Juster.
If you just read, so at paragraph 5, it reads, before I go to that paragraph, page 650, it is dated the 2nd of November 2017. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
So at paragraph 5, if I just read it, can read it into the record, we was informed that on 9 November 2016, persons that introduced themselves as members of Independent Police Investigative Directorate, IPID, visited the complex regarding an investigation against General Phahlane.
Yes.
I compiled a report, which I handed to Colonel Henny, and a computer copy of the of Lieutenant Colonel Kruger. The report was classified as secret. I never received the signed report back, and I was also never informed of the outcome of the report. We know that that happens in November 2017. If you turn to the next page at 651.
Yes, yes.
Can you read in the date at the bottom of the page?
Yes, it's 24th of the 11th, 2017.
Yes, and that statement, who is the author of that document?
Franz Hendrik Christian Kruger, state under oath. I'm a Lieutenant Colonel in South African Police Services, stationed at Crime Intelligence Office, and gives his number. Additional to my previous statement dated 2nd of the 11th, regarding paragraph 5, I was informed that Paul O'Sullivan was with members of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate who visited Sable Hill complex regarding an investigation against General Phahlane. I never recommended any further investigations into, and he puts in quotation marks, security brief tasking we received. I was informed by a source that SAPS members from Northwest Province visited Sable complex just after we left and before we even submitted the report, which means that the Northwest guys, Jan Mabula's team, arrives long before the outcome of a security breach report is done. And the cell phone analysis shows that Phahlane phoned them straight away and they headed straight up from Potchefstroom to Pretoria. Yes.
So what we know is that from your evidence is that the complaint by General Phahlane regarding a security breach at his home by Paul O'Sullivan was in fact investigated. We have two statements to that effect by two members of the SAPS.
Yes.
If you can then just continue with your evidence at paragraph 81 of your affidavit. It is at page 23.
81, I have it, ma'am.
Okay.
So Lieutenant Colonel Franz Hendrik attended to the complaint on 2nd of November 2017 and confirmed that Paul O'Sullivan was with members of IPID visit Stable Hills. No recommendation regarding further investigation into security breaches made. SAPS members from Northwest Province visited Stable Hills complex after we had left before I could submit a report. That's just what it states. Acting Divisional Commissioner Machele, General Machele, the Northwest Provincial Commissioner General Motswanyane, together with Mabula team, concocted a report that was used to authorize their travel arrangements for the purpose of investigating the purported breach. I pause to mention that this was an abuse of power by General Phahlane as the acting national commissioner at the time. The Northwest team was created to counter-investigate against the IPID investigation team. This counter-investigation step was authorized under the guise of a security breach against the acting national commissioner. As a result of the concocted report on 10th of May 2017, a second charge of defeating the ends of justice was registered by Nkabinde as the complainant against General Phahlane. Regarding Mabula team case number 53405-217, attached to it is a copy of the statement by Nkabinde in his mark annex RJM 18.
Turn to that annexure. It's at 652. You've said that Nkabinde was the complainant. Can we just make sure that that's the case?
He was the investigator and he was opening the case here. I'm an adult male of 37 years old, employed at Independent Police Investigative Directorate with personal number. I'm the complainant on behalf of the state in this case, defeating the ends of justice against acting national commissioner and others. I wish to state that during our approximate period between 9th of November to the 10th of May, our suspect in the corruption case was Acting National Commissioner Lieutenant General Komotso Phahlane, as per CNN number 215030085. He allegedly abuses powers by establishing a team from Northwest under false pretenses of a security breach, he spells it breach, to counter our investigation and to interfere with several witnesses. It is alleged that the suspects are operating from Pretoria, where they summon all our witnesses, approaching them to submit second statements which contradicts the initial statement submitted to IPID investigators. No one has a right to interfere with our witnesses to defeat the ends of justice. And it's signed by Cedric on 11th of the 5th, 2017, and commissioned by his colleague, Mancha Rafes.
Okay, and then on the next page is the actual...
Yes, the actual case being opened, yeah.
Okay. If you can then just maybe give this committee context as to what happened with the counter investigation and why did a team come from the Northwest, from your understanding because at the time you were the head of IPID and you were responsible for the senior investigators.
So the Northwest team, I know the Northwest team from when I was at Phahlane. At that stage in 2006, they were involved in a number of allegations of, it's the same crew, because I know there was a situation where there was a cash in transit. Because we didn't have investigative powers at Metropolis, we rather resorted to first respondent approach. That means we respond quickly to an emergency. And during that period, whilst initially Ekurhuleni was the number one at cash in transit occurrences and bank robberies, later on, it was almost down to zero. The crime was displaced to other areas because of the rapid response time. On one occasion, suspects were caught whilst changing cars after a robbery at, I remember the name, but it's in Boksburg. And anyway, we called in organized crime, which involved one of the people of Mabula team was Manamela. I think he was Superintendent Manamela then. And when he came, they loosened the cuffs of the suspect that was now caught and then took the suspect away because we handed over the scene. We never heard from it. There was automatic weapons in the car. There were keys for other cars. There were cell phones that were ringing, and we were begging him to please put your equipment on this thing. Let's find out where these cell phones have been phoned from so that we can respond quickly and then you can capture the guys. And we spent the rest of that Saturday afternoon trying to locate the people, and no one wanted to help us with technology. Eventually, I phoned Provincial Commissioner Naidu, and he told me to speak to his Deputy Director, Mapiani then. And I spoke to Mapiani. Mapiani says I must come to Germiston. When I came to Germiston, it was late in Saturday night already. The same Northwest team was there already. Later on, I found out about some of the allegations when I came to IPID. So from when IPID was in ICD, in that period, a lot of cases of assault, 2 of murder were reported. There was a big robbery at the airport where foreign currency, diamonds, and I think gold were taken as the loot, and someone was shot at Swiss Air. And out of that, some of the money was recovered, but from the money recovered and was put supposedly in Benoni, in fact, the money had been, the people had started pilfering the evidence already. So the result was that they were called in again, the same team. This is about 2006 also. And in any event, they got a number of people were assaulted, tortured, and 2 died in custody by the same team that Phahlane calls. So that's the reputation they had. So one person, Mampane, they shot him in his back while he was handcuffed. And another person was Solomon Ningane, who was suffocated to death in the presence of Mabula.
Yeah. Chairperson, Mr. McBride, how would they do the counterintelligence into the breach at home? They've come from the Northwest. The case is already before the SAPS in Pretoria. So how would something like that work in?
Well, they disrupted and looked for things against us, and they disrupted investigation, and they were largely successful. But in the end, I think it was Tuchten Judge Tuchten, we litigated against the interference. And the judgment basically said, and I think we have it here in the bundle, that counter investigations of cops, at the time, so this is critical, I forgot to mention this. Temani Binang was the investigating officer for the tortures and deaths in custody. This Temani Binang, who they hate, he was the investigating officer, and there was cases still going on when they decided now to have a go at him and say he's one of Phahlane's words, rogue unit. And yet the issue stems from previous investigations against the same team. So,
McBride, just to come back to Phahlane's matters, because we are still dealing with the task.
yes, ma'am. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it's okay. Finally, what has actually come of all these matters? You've mentioned and you've told the committee that there are a number of investigations which were, conducted regarding General Phahlane,
Yeah.
most of which were led by Cedric Nkabinde.
Yes.
And you've told the committee on detailed and specifics with demonstrating charge sheets and affidavits. What has come of these matters? Where are they today?
Well, there's two matters in court. They're both corruption matters, both serious corruption, where Phahlane appears with other people in court. They've appeared a few times. On one case, I'm sorry, it's amusing to see him saying, bring it on, but he's tried to get it dismissed off the roll over and over and over again. Every trick under the book. He's 7 years old. And the judge pushed it to October and November, just so that's for trial. It's set down. No more, deferring and delaying and distraction. So
Yeah.
that's what a lot of the other cases are still in abeyance. People are still busy with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I invite you to read your paragraph 86 of the statement.
Moreover, some of the criminal matters that Phahlane faces, which were investigated by IPAD, have been set down. Attached here to are documents in my possession pertaining to this case, which includes a charge sheet as RJM 19A and it says here JM 19B. Finally, General Phahlane and IPAD have been in court for various matters in which General Phahlane has not been successful. To that end, I attach judgment confirming same mark as annexes RJM 20.
Okay. RJM 20, we have already placed on record that it forms part of the exhibit bundle.
Yes.
And we don't need to go through it now for the purposes of this evidence. But can you turn to page 6?